Recording.
We'll call the Forestville Town Board monthly meeting to order on January 18th at 6:32. Roll call, Ruth.
Roy Engelberg.
Here.
Larry Huber.
Here.
Jason Klahach.
Here.
Dina Schmidt.
Here.
And I'm Ruth Kirscher. And we also have as our guests John Saran, Andy, and Tamara Rumden.
Okay, thank you. Has the agenda been properly noted?
Yes.
Okay. Move to approve the agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
I second. Any changes? I don't see any we have to make. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the minutes from the last meeting.
They were posted on the website. I don't know that there are any corrections or errors that I can see.
And a motion to approve the minutes would be in order.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second
Is there a second?
that. Yes.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Treasurer's report.
In the contingency fund, we have 50,000. In the money market, we have $176,815.38. Town checking, we have $2,003.97. Cemetery perpetual care, we have $9,827.74. Cemetery savings, we have $4,464.22. Cemetery checking, we have $92.86, and LGIP general, we have $118,168.94.
No receivables?
No, they're all caught up.
All current.
Yep. The green sheet is everything that we took in for taxes and paid
All
out
the tax settlements?
Yes.
for January.
Okay, you've heard the treasurer's report. Any questions or comments?
I make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report.
I second.
Motion made to accept the treasurer's report. Any other further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Public comments at this time. Are there any public comments from anybody? Carl?
Well, I mean, I think we're all here for the same reason. We got, I guess you'd say someone advised, so a couple Fridays ago, I met you guys over on the county line. And we own property off of old substation, and John owns the 40 right behind us, both in Forestville Township. So we were all at the MP meeting last week, and along with Nathan Schlein, his wife, we won on the south side, on the MP side. And I had asked the whole MP board again for proof that the township owns that property. I said, I'd like to see on paper or something where there's a deed that transfers his property, our property, Nathan Schley's property, and Steve Grant, you know, all the way on the line. I'd like to see the proof that it's the township's, not ours, in order for you guys to say that there's a road through there. And you guys, if I went to met you down there, I don't know when it was gonna happen, but you were down there with the tree service in preparation of pretty much cutting the right of way through there.
Well, I think you and I talked about this before. We don't have any deeds in our roads saying that you actually are paying taxes to the center of the town road. And we don't have any paperwork saying that we have given up. That goes way back when.
So you're talking about roads that are traveled and maintained and everything else. This is
When the roads were plotted way back in the last century.
I mean, there's no, this has been rephrased for this, like I told the MP guys, I've been arguing this since 2015, when those right-of-way signs were put through there. I've been paying an attorney for the last 2 years. We've been in the courtroom with you guys one time so far. There's never been anything recorded in the public record that there's a road through there. Until you guys filed that in 2018.
Okay.
Where we got this letter in the mail that says there's a road through there, 2 years ago, not even 2 years, it'll be 2 years in August.
Well, going back, we're not gonna, we don't have this
Right.
conversation back and forth at these meetings, but going back, you have the information that NP provided you in 2005, and that, what they did back in 2005.
That was with the heirs.
Heirs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the old road plat book, when the roads were
Yeah,
platted for the
yeah.
town, goes back to 1903. You know,
So,
some years back.
So Poppy advised us to come here, because between him and Dreas, I've been repeatedly told by those guys that Forestville is the one pushing this issue, repeatedly.
well, that's unfortunate, because it's a joint, the road is talking between both Anapee and Forestville. We haven't pushed anything more than Anapee has pushed anything more, so.
So they ended the conversation in the meeting last week by, Gary said that they were gonna not do the brushing until someone along that so-called right-of-way or roadway, whatever you're calling it, requests a maintenance be done.
Okay,
So he said as far as the Forestville side, which I think John and I are not, he said we'd have to take that up with you guys.
well, you'll hear some more information on the meeting. We'll present some more information this afternoon or this evening. Okay, very good. Okay, any correspondence or any? I have one. We received our COVID-19 payment,
Oh, good.
$9,000, and Nassau provided the wash machines and the dryers for both places, and they got their check for over 31,000. So they
Yeah, we
have.
got it.
They have
Just
been-
the nine, the 9.
Yeah. Oh, we're supposed to get something else?
No, not yet.
No, that's,
No,
Not
okay.
yet. You just get your
Yeah, we stepped in.
$600.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of the 926, yeah, that
Oh.
was, yeah,
Okay.
9,000, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. You have anything, Ruth?
No, nothing.
Okay. Okay. Okay, moving on to the sanitary district. Anything from them? Did you hear?
No, nothing new.
Okay, cemetery report.
we had one burial on the 6th of January, Beverly Schmeling. And I got the, remains disposition report from Forbes and no perpetual care check. I talked to the folks at the funeral home, I talked to Harold Forbes, and he said, well, Jonathan took care of that one. I said, well, whoever took care of it, you sent me just the disposition report for the body, but you didn't send me the perpetual care, which is required. Yeah, he says, we should have done that. I said, well, I don't have it. Well, let me check with Jonathan, I'll get back to you. And that's a week and a half ago. I've not heard back from him, and I'm gonna make another contact, but what I think, if I don't have that payment by next month's meeting, I think we'll have to send them an invoice, maybe Dina.
Okay.
And send them an invoice or something. So,
Anything else on that? And,
other than that, no, I haven't done anything further with that.
I'm gonna back up a little bit. We did get an email from Bailey Regional Planning Commission saying there's gonna be some free technical assistance.
Yes,
But we're not members, and it only applies to members, so we don't get anything.
right, I saw that, and I wondered what that was. Duluth, you had sent that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, on that one, okay. Okay, policy and ordinance, why I put that in here is that our recent issue of this magazine.
Yep.
We have county zoning, so therefore our zoning and village is up to date. We don't have to do anything with that. But, and we do have a public records ordinance. We have that, how we retention of our, we have that. And is there anything that all our ordinances are on the website? Is there anything we're missing? I think before the next meeting, we should all look at our ordinances and see if we're missing something on our ordinances, on our website, if we are lacking something. I think we're ahead of the curve, but,
Well, the only issue that I am aware of is the fact that we do have records that are not necessarily public records. Well, they are public records, but like these dispositions, we also get things electronically, sometimes that we don't get up on the website. And case in point is the cemetery records, the books, the pages, and all of that sort of thing. You talked to that last month's meeting, and those are maintained on my personal computer. And also, I know, Roy, you do the Whistler reports and all of the Pacer stuff. That's on your computer home, and you post. But we don't really have backup to that. And so we'll get into this discussion probably the next item. But there are those issues where we do not have that backup, and we don't even have the backup on your computer other than the hard drive that you put in the vault.
Right. Mhm.
So, and I confirmed that with Ed, so just bear in mind that that's an issue. And you were talking, I maybe should have said something when you were talking about correspondence. There was also their piece of correspondence that came through with regard to Department of Safety and professional services related to the electronic submission of building permits.
Yes.
And that's something that we had talked about at this other meeting. And in this letter, they basically are talking about their schedule for plan review and submissions and so on and so forth, but they're requiring these things to be submitted electronically. Now, right now, we're doing a full paper submission through the building inspector and the appraiser. But if that moves to become full electronic, then all of a sudden, we're back to the same old thing about it's maybe going to be on your computer or wherever. So we have to consider those sorts of things that I think are coming down.
Now, all the permits that I do save them on the computer.
Right. Well, I know the
Yeah.
physical permit, but I'm talking about the submission of
Yes.
the plan documentation.
And would Brett be doing that? Brett would be the one doing that?
Ultimately, I'm guessing, they were talking about the contractors and Brett being involved in that, building inspector. So just be aware that those things are coming down the pipe, and we also then will probably be getting more records to store online.
Right.
It's going to be more of an issue as time goes on, just as a comment, side note.
Now, Larry, the cemetery report, or the cemetery records, could that be put on our website? Would that be a good idea? Like the names?
The names, yeah, we could do that. Now, you typed up something with
From Brockhausen
for
Cemetery?
Brockhausen, and I do have something, Gary Medke, did he do it? Or who did that for the town? For the town cemetery up here in Maplewood.
I know that was when Hunsfeld was on the board.
Right,
I can't remember who the person was that did it.
But-
He was hired to do it.
right, but that was all typed, and it's just a sequence of
I
everything.
see.
And when I came into the cemetery committee with, at the time was Edson, and then Gerald Eager.
Speaker. Mhm.
And when I finally got the full set of records, that there'd been
Oh,
10 or 12 years that had elapsed there. And I could go back probably and capture that, but it's going to be more, and instead of typing it into just a document,
yeah, yeah.
it's just a piece of paper. All I have is a typed paper, the burials. And that's a task that I think probably should be created in like a Word document that we could then post on the website.
Right,
Like the town officials, the elected officials, Joyce did that we put them on the
Yes,
wall, but now they're all on the website as well. And so there again is another set of records. I don't know,
Couldn't we do that in Excel?
you could?
You know, and put that in there, and then you can actually have all the plots, show the plots, and then in each cell, we can actually put who's there or what, and, you know, the whole information about each cell.
Correct. Yeah.
Something to think about.
Right. But again, they're not necessarily ordinance requirements, but nonetheless, they're public records.
Public records,
And we
yeah.
want to make them available,
Yeah.
easily available.
Mhm.
Now, I field phone calls, you know, and email messages and we get visits from people who are trying to locate families. But if we had some of that information on the website, yes, that would be of value. But again, it's creating the document. Where does it then be maintained and stored? And what this article in the magazine from the Towns Association basically was talking about is for those who follow us in office, how then will they have access to all of the stuff? If it's on my computer, your computer, you know, where is it? We don't, we're moving slowly to get everything on cloud-based. We've got all of our email and with archive and recall in case of a FOIA inquiry, but we don't have a repository for the electronic stuff that we're starting to develop, and that's going to become more so. All these recordings,
Mhm.
you know.
Okay, well, we'll keep on looking at our ordinances. Okay, moving on to QuickBooks Online and cloud-based backup for all town records. Larry and Dina and Ruth had a
picnic, didn't we?
trip too, huh? And then Larry brought up, it all recapped on,
Did you all get that summary sheet that I sent out of what we were doing or what we did? I sent out the QuickBooks outline online
I
and
don't get that. I don't think I did.
Did.
you forwarded it.
Oh, that's,
yeah.
oh, that one, okay, I thought it was something that you sent.
I sent it to
You
you
sent it to me.
and you sent it to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you all got that?
Yeah.
All right, basically what this is a summary of each or each contact that I had made back in the beginning of the month after our last board meeting. And I documented the information that we had gotten. I also pursued what it would take for us to go online. And Dina and Ruth and I had a Zoom meeting. And we went through contacted the Quantum PC. I had also contacted Ed Durst. I have yet to hear back from Ed Durst on any of this.
He's always so busy.
So when I went to Quantum PC and I met Journey at your farm and talked to him briefly, and he gave us some good insight, but then he suggested we talk to their accounting experts. So the following Thursday then, or whenever it was that we had our Zoom meeting on, it was Monday the
Monday.
11th, we got a hold of the Erin Helgerson. And she said she's doing this for all kinds of businesses up and down the county. She also said that she thought she could convert the existing database that's on your machine, and Ruth went back and she told me that you had all of the town books going back to January 1st, 1995. That's 25 years worth of records, all on that machine. And Quantum said they would be able to convert or import all of that into QuickBooks Online. It might take a day or two. That's why she would require your computer. And when we talked to her online, she basically, what she would do is kick off the conversion process, importing all the records off the town-owned machine, into the cloud with Intuit. And then, once that was done, she would go back and validate, all the things that needed to be done. And she figured she'd spend 1 hour, her time.
Wow.
But it would probably run for a day and a half. I think that's where you started the process back in when was it?
October.
October.
Mhm,
And that's where you ran into a problem.
mhm.
And she said, well, we do that regularly, and we know, she says it's difficult.
We downloaded, but we downloaded last year from January to
Yeah.
whatever, but then when we tried to go and get the bank information to pull that in, it would only pull in the last 3 months. And that's where we struggled
Right.
to try to get that, and the banks were no help. The banks, well, that's all we have out there, they said. So,
Right. And when we were online with her and talking to her, she said, well, that's, we know how to, we
Right, they know how to
run
go
into
through
that
it.
all the time.
yes,
In essence, so they would do it. So I guess the bottom line on that particular thing is that she thought she would have to have an hour to do that, set it up in the cloud. And she thought within an hour, she could also then provide whatever training is necessary. And if you needed another hour, a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours, and the charge rate that they charge for that type of service is about $120? I think that's what she said.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
120 or 125.
120,
Oh, wait,
yeah, $240, so that's $120 an hour is their rate for doing
an
that.
estimated for, conversion,
Yeah,
it's going to be 240 an hour.
1 hour for the conversion and 1 hour for training. That's what she felt she would do. When I pressed her further about that on our phone call, she said that the information would still remain on the PC like you have it right now. So if we invest in a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours of services from Quantum PC, we could get it online, and that way it's not just on your machine or your machine. You're doing double entry.
Mhm.
You're doing all the receipts, send her a report. She posts the receipts. She writes checks, sends you a report, you put all the checks in, and we consider yours to be the official record, but you also have a quasi-official record. And it's difficult sometimes if they're off a little bit. Whereas if they both seek into the cloud, they're working on a common database. All of a sudden, that double entry goes away, and you've got access to all of the information. Should you not be able to make that work, you still have it on your machine. And they give us a rate of $35 an hour for this, or $35 a month for the QuickBooks Online for the first 3 months. After that, it becomes $70 a month. But that was what we approved back in March.
No, will Aaron give support after that? Because according to what I'm hearing from going QuickBooks Online is that we have to make phone calls because we have problems. I don't know how to do this, and so you have to make a phone call, and you'll be making a few phone calls to somebody that knows QuickBooks Online, because you're gonna run into some problems every now and then. But
Absolutely, if she's available. That's what she does.
that's what she
The
does.
bulk of
okay.
your time, bulk of her time is spent on the phone with support
Uh-huh.
to these 100 and some clients she's got in the county.
All I can report is that in 2020, my daughter went on with QuickBooks Online, and she's got 9 people on there that can go in there, and some of them can put the right figures in, and but it took her time to make a phone call to get this done, and it's working for her, so that's the only way to go. And
It's gonna be a learning, I mean, it's gonna be a learning curve,
Yeah.
and it's gonna
Right,
take
right.
time, but it's no different than changing anything. You have to have patience, I guess.
so is there anything that we have to do on the computers for Dina or Ruth as far as?
The only thing we would have to do for Ruth would have to bring her PC to Quantum,
Okay,
and then they would work on it
okay.
and bring it back. And at that point, then you would have a web-based access into QuickBooks, which you would already know about. So, and you don't lose the access on the existing version. What you have on the desktop, though, is 4 years old.
Yes.
So it's not up to date. But it would still run. You would still can use it. It just isn't, you know, the most current software. Whereas the online version is maintained and it's just there. So I guess the only difference here is that rather than having Ruth and Dina trying to do it on their own, that we just agreed it, we will have, let's go forward with Quantum PC to do that piece of it, and let's get this thing done, because we've talked about it since for almost a year now.
Should we put we know it's gonna cost more than $240. Should we put in the motion, should we put a top of no more than $500? Is that?
Yeah, we could, it's, yeah, is it no more 400? That would be double the hourly rate.
Yeah.
You know. And then, to get it set up and going and get some training, I'd make
Yeah,
it.
you're gonna have to, yeah, we're gonna have to have some training on it.
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it.
Yeah, look at it.
I'd make a motion that we, contract with, Quantum PC for, to get this thing converted and provide some training and not spend any more than $500 for that portion of it, because we'd already agreed to go with the online cost.
Yes, we did.
So to that end, I make a motion that we spend that, no more than $500, but we get this thing off.
Motion by Larry, second by Jason. One question, we talked about putting our records, like you have, cemetery records, other records, how does that get into the cloud?
That's a separate discussion, but that's also a component of what we were doing.
Yeah.
Talked about Dropbox.
Okay.
And I think I sent all of this stuff out to you. And I sent you a link. There was also a link to who are the leading providers of storage. And Dropbox is the leading provider of storage, even though it doesn't have some of the newer and fancier elements. They're typically, what they do, typically theirs has been there for years. I don't even know for sure how long. I've been using Dropbox since I was working for PBI. All right, they've been out of business for 27 years. So they are not always on the bleeding edge of this stuff, but it's solid, it's there, it's backed up across multiple sites. And
You can also have different folders, right?
well, yeah, and when I went out there to look at what they're doing or what they offer, they have a business version. This would be a business version. And depending on the number of users, that would determine what you would pay. The cost for a business user's license is $75 a month. If you charge it monthly, and basically what I did, I went out there and I thought, well, we have 2 supervisors, chair, clerk, and treasurer, and then we also have this guy. And this is where all the recordings and the postings and the stuff for the website come from. So we would have need for 6 systems to be backed up. But when I investigated this, there's a common place that the administrator has access to. That could be this machine, because this is the one we've been using for internet stuff. And then we would only need to have 5 stations, 5 users. And you set it up on your home machine for when you're doing town business, you're saving your stuff into the cloud.
Okay.
So that when as an example, let's say that as supervisor, I'm not elected to that position, somebody else, gets that position. When they log in as supervisor, that would be where the work would go. To that town website, would be associated with that town storage area. And in that way, we're satisfying what the town association is recommending, make sure that successors have access to stuff, because where you and I moved file cabinets from Edson's place, from, Jerry's place, and what do you have? You got a pile of paper. So when I looked at it, it would be an annual cost. If they bill it monthly, it's $75 a month, but if you bill it on an annual basis, it's $750 or $12.50 a month per user per month. So if you bill it annually, charged annually, it'd be for you'd be $75 a year for 5 users. 750, I'm sorry, 750.
Larry, that's a business cost.
Correct.
Being a nonprofit, wouldn't we be eligible for the nonprofit price?
I have not investigated that.
Because nonprofits are only paying about $35 a year for 9-10 people on that thing for the college.
Well, can Sue give me some contact information? Because she's doing that, right?
Yeah, she
That
found out
would be fine.
nonprofits, that's really.
Yeah.
Are we capped on how much information or we can put out there?
Yeah, there was a limit, something like 5 terabytes.
Oh, well, that's good.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, right now, your email archives on the town email program, each one of us has something like a terabyte or 25 gigabytes of storage per user of email, and we are using minuscule amount.
Yeah,
When I look at the control panel, it's just a minuscule amount.
that's in rack space now.
Rack
That's
space,
where it's
absolutely.
going, yeah.
So I don't see us or envision that we would have, consume that much space.
Yeah.
Because my cemetery records and stuff don't even amount
Well,
to.
right. Because I was just looking at a lot of times when you start doing this sort of thing, you get these companies that start putting limits and caps on stuff. And I just figured that we'd be, at least think about that, for a
Right.
minute,
Well, again,
But
if I
5
can,
terabytes.
if I can find out about, even if it's a terabyte,
Right, well, right, but we'll be fine.
if I can get some information on how, I was just doing online stuff and because I had other things going on. But I think that, that would be worthy of our going in that direction. But, if we can get it at even a reduced rate, so much better.
Yeah, I'll check with Susan, yeah.
Okay.
And what's the timeline and what kind of timeline we're gonna do for this?
It would be whenever we approve how much money we're gonna spend on cloud-based storage for each elected official.
Okay.
So,
So we have a motion on the floor to go ahead with Quantum PC to do the conversion to going online. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, we are going to do that. Motion is carried. And you're going to continue working on that, Larry, then?
I will continue to get information, and if you can have Sue contact or send me some information,
Yeah.
I'll pursue that and I'll bring back stuff on cloud-based storage.
Won't be able to do that until she gets home Thursday.
Oh, well, it'll be before next month.
She'll have to done, okay.
Okay.
Okay, roads and road work, Old Substation Road, Steve Parent from Oldham Engineering has all the information. And Ruth, we should get a reimbursement check for $73,072.40. That's what
What was that amount, 73?
$73,072.40.
Okay.
The original estimate of the cost for that was $175,000, and the total project came in for $146,145.40. So it came in well under the estimate, and the main reason for that is that oil prices went down considerably from when we were working on this way back when, 2 years ago.
Did we miss the garbage and recycling?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I skipped over that, yeah. The only thing on garbage and recycling I have is, we went down one. We got 464 now. And found out that you didn't have a house on that a couple weeks ago. Okay. Nassawapi is resurfacing School Drive from Anschutz Road north to 57. That's just for what, your information, because that's.
What about their chunk between Anschutz Road and our, where
Through that wood, that wetlands there?
where the wetlands are?
That's Brussels.
That's Brussels.
Oh,
That's Brussels. This is Anschutz going north is.
From Anschutz Road to the highway,
Yeah,
or going north.
yeah,
Okay, but that other piece is Brussels before.
yeah, yeah, the
it
next
gets
half
to
mile is
us.
Brussels.
And that's where it's not a good road.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna have to do something, of course, they've been notified about that, yeah,
Okay.
on that. The mailboxes is the time of the year that mailboxes will seem to get off. And this is a policy going back to 1999, where the edge of the mailbox has to be 6 feet from the edge of the road, back 6 feet. So there's not too many mailboxes that'll meet that qualification. So if you have a customer or citizen saying that the county knocked their mailbox down, ask them to call the county and tell them that, because Rob Robinson will come out and inspect that and say yes or no, whether they're gonna pay for that or not.
So they'll reimburse if it's properly located.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. We had one in the last snowstorm, one mailbox got tipped off.
So it must be 6 feet from the edge
Edge of the
of
road.
pavement, huh?
Yep.
Edge of pavement, because
Pavement,
they're in the right of way. Mailboxes are in the right.
Yeah, but the shoulder is really 2 feet wide, so you're gonna have to go another 4 feet beyond the shoulder with the post and make a little pathway for your mailbox.
Yeah, and then you got the mailman yelling because you're too far off. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's came in this year. Another item on road construction. In our last review, we went over and we looked at 2 roads. This is something for your information to think about for next month rather. Don't make a decision now. Just wanted to get there.
I got one. Jason's got one. Right?
Okay, I guess I will make
One short.
one short, yeah.
Oh, we one short?
But we looked at widening West Center Road and resurfacing it. That's the road that's probably the worst one. And that would be, to put 2.5 inches of blacktop on that, would be $148,000.
No, West Center.
Yeah, that's going past the pit, going where the road where.
Just below the
the
chair.
garbage truck.
Oh, yes, we did talk about that.
Yep,
It's
yep.
pretty narrow.
Yeah, but widen it to 20 feet. I measured it, John says it's only 13 feet, but I found 14 feet.
I was gonna say, we saw 14 feet when we measured it.
Yeah. But the reason why it's higher is that he's figuring extra gravel in that to do that job, and you have to fix that. And Salona Road, I asked him to break that down into 2 sections, because that's a mile and, I say 1.75 miles. He's got it almost a mile, 1.9.
He's got it almost 2 miles.
Yeah. And the first section would be 163,000, and the next section for 0.8 of a mile would be 125,000. And there we would be putting 3.5 inches of blacktop on it with 2 less shoulder grading and compacting.
Any shot at TRID or TRIP or any kind of money?
Well,
like that?
okay, that's a good question. We got a message from our executive secretary there, Mr. Mike Knowles, and he said that very likely there's not going to be any TRID or TRIP money in the next biennium, this biennium coming up. We won't know until July or August if there is. And of course, we put in for Salona Road, we put that in this last time when we had that money and we didn't get it. But, we should do one of these projects in 2021. And these are, I asked for this now because John Pelosi is going to be retiring March 1st. And I don't know who the new man would be able to do a spec sheet like this.
To do this, yeah.
Yeah,
to do the,
so- So this we will take up next month on our board meeting, whether it's go or not.
okay.
Also, right now is that this is the time of the year that the excavator at the county doesn't have the bucket on and they have the big brush cutter. And notice that we cleared the brush on West Carnet Road. And if you see any place in the next 2 months, we should do some more brush cutting, let me know. Because they go, it's about $150 a day and they can do quite a bit of time, cut quite a bit of brush and come up with a semi and unload it and way to go. Yeah, so that's on there. And Andy mentioned about on brush cutting on County Line Road. Yes, we had met with NP board on there's a date marked here. On the 8th, and NP was questioning whether it's be any way to pursue it, if it's going to be too costly. And Gabe came in with a price. Of $20,000.
Ooh. Now, is that Gabe, top of the Draft, that outside service?
That's Gabe's, that's the place from.
Top of the Draft, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
top or drop it, yeah.
Do you have a
Out of
copy of
our
this?
road.
Because this is laying here, like this.
Oh,
Okay, that's
Is that yours?
no, that's must be, that's the fifth
Oh,
one.
it's,
That's
okay,
the one.
that was the one I'm missing. Was the-
So, I don't have the answers, if we want to pursue it or not. We'll have to have a meeting with, NP. And, at this time, as you heard from Andy, Andrew, that, NP is not too interested in, but we'll get a meeting with NP and see if we want to pursue that or not, and, go from there. At this kind of price, at this time, I'm not too interested in, but we will get more information on that.
you also sent something out with regard to DNR.
Yep, we'd have to check with the DNR. I
You've got
tried.
an inquiry out there.
Pardon?
You have an inquiry out there, don't you?
Yep, he's on vacation, they federal holiday.
Okay, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So when we start with that, we start with DNR, do we have to go through the Corps of Engineers and everybody else?
No, because I don't think there's water. Wetlands, is there?
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
Oh, yeah.
soil and water.
yeah,
Can I make a
So-
comment on that?
certainly.
So, speaking of the DNR, on the property that we own, about 2 years ago, it might be 3 already, I had a pile of horse manure dumped in my driveway there, or part of my pump there.
Uh-huh,
I got a call from the DNR
uh-huh,
on the wetland side of it, or whatever department that is. They were concerned about a pile of, a 12-foot dump trailer full of horse manure that was sitting in my driveway because it was a wetland, considered a wetland area.
mhm, mhm.
So, and I dumped it there temporarily to put my kid's pumpkin patch, and they were concerned about that,
Yeah.
so. That's another question I have, being that trail that you guys are calling the road is 3/4 that's cattails,
Yeah, yeah.
all the way through.
Before we could do anything, we'd have to get the flow clearance, and, you bet, that would be another thing to consider.
So
But we will,
Frank Money's in there too.
I'm sorry,
There's Frank Money's in there too.
Greg Money's in there too? Oh, I got something for you. Yes, okay, yeah, so that's how we stand.
Okay.
After I get some more information, I'll call a meeting, and we'll probably have the meeting at Algoma, because that's their next time. Gary wanted to have a meeting after,
Right.
and so we'll meet with the whole board. So
When, after you get some more information.
Yep,
So
yep,
water
yeah,
and also
yeah,
be,
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
so on that. So that's where we are in that.
You have no,
How wide of a road is that considered? Because I heard they were saying like 3 rod.
That's a 3
And I
rod.
heard it was a rod and a half.
No, well, no, not a, it's 3, the minimum a road can be is 3 rods wide, that's 49.5 feet. Most of the roads, we have one other road in the town of Forestville, that's only 3 rods wide. That's Cherry, that little extra length of Cherry Lane.
oh, yes,
And the other ones are all 4 rods wide. And they were all set up way back when, it should have been 4 rods wide, 66 feet, and the county roads are not. Missing road signs update, I don't have anything more. We're not ordering the signs until April of this year. I know like 2 street signs are gone and 2 dead end signs are
I
gone.
have one street sign over by my corner there, I just gotta put it back on.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
that came down again?
Yeah, it came down
Yeah,
again.
I wouldn't-
Next time it goes up, it won't come back down.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a new sign making man. The other sign making man went on to work in the shop. By the way, for the county, we have 4 openings in the county right now, looking for mechanics and county workers right now. So,
Somewhat.
yeah,
Workers.
we are open, we have 4 openings in our
Really?
county highway department right now.
The snow plows,
They will be trained on snowplows, yeah. Our drivers that we have now for our town of Forest, we have 3 drivers and they're all
huh?
have had experience so far.
We don't have any snow.
Well, that's why that's why I brought up this amount of money for roads,
Correct,
because
correct.
our snow budget is probably gonna be about $10,000-12,000 this for 2020.
Right,
And we only had one incident so far.
correct.
And that was, so,
Well, yeah, so when you were talking about that, my thought went to, if we are having a mild winter, then our, road work budget, we might have more monies available.
yeah,
But I don't know that we'll, from what I heard from Towns Association, we're not gonna have monies coming out of this next budget.
I doubt it, because they kept the road back, they kept our miles per road the same, the dollars per mile the same, they kept that the same. But,
There's one thing I want to bring up. So when it does snow, even if it snows 2 inches, do we plow at that? We plow at that?
without a call, I'll get a call at 6 o'clock in the morning. And if it's like 3-4 inches, no, I won't get a call. But if it's right there at the 2-inch mark or 1.75 inches, I'll get a call.
Okay.
And sometimes we decide just to run with just sand and corners, that's it. And
Well, can we please be on that first pass that goes down our road? Because our road turns into ice
with all your
within
traffic, yeah.
half an hour it's glare ice.
And so does Mill Road too.
Yeah, and so does
Well,
Mill.
Mill Road is, we got 2 roads in our township. We got Mill Road is a priority. They plow that at the same time they do the county roads. And North Carnet is a priority. We plow that at the same time we do the county roads. And then also Maplewood Road is a east to west road is a priority. We plow that. The rest of the town roads get plowed after 7 o'clock.
Ours is already ice by 7 o'clock, because all our guys
the trucks
are
and-
switching
Yeah.
at between 6 and 7.
It's like, yeah.
And it is, even for the school bus to come down, it's dangerous. Our feed truck comes out, they end up in the ditch at least 3 times a year, just trying to come down our road
Because it's ice.
because of the ice.
Okay, well,
It's just, as soon as traffic gets on it, it's just packed down. We had a car flip over on the last one.
Yeah, you told me that, and I went and looked, I couldn't see where it was in the ditch.
Yeah, it was there.
On the corner?
No, it wasn't quite on the corner, it was down a little further. Kind of like where the driveway goes into the field,
Okay.
On a field entrance.
huh?
Yeah, field entrance.
Yeah. But, he was very lucky he didn't get hurt, but it's just if we could get at least some sand on it.
Okay, moving on to payment of bills.
Where do we start?
Where does it start?
1241? CenturyTel,
And it starts on 12/18,
1218.
or, yeah, or 12/21, it's between there,
CenturyTel.
CenturyTel.
Not too many. What?
You guys are pretty much done with the road.
Yeah, very good.
All the levy checks went out.
We paid,
Not much going out. What's coming in though?
Yep,
Okay, the levies.
Make a motion that we pay the bills.
any further discussion?
Well, we gotta get a second.
I second that.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, motion made to pay the bill. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Paying the bills. Okay, Ruth's got announced we're gonna have a primary
Yes.
election on February 16th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
And that's right after our next board meeting.
Okay, is there anybody on the ballot?
Superintendent of schools.
That's it.
I think there's about 7 running for that position.
Hmm.
And then there's a judge.
Give that to Jason.
who is
There's
it now?
nobody, running on against us?
No.
Who's superintendent now?
Patty Bickman, you're talking about?
No,
No,
this is
she's talking state.
State.
Oh,
It's a state
So it
oh.
won't be a very big election, I don't think, and it's a judgeship too, I'm not sure. I just read it in the paper, I didn't really get an email on it, but
Do we need to update the website with the election information for this?
I'll have to check that. Good idea. I'll have to check.
When did you give this to you,
I just got that on the 8th, okay, that is dated February 17th.
Yeah.
I just got that in the mail on the 8th, or I thought I marked it down when I got that.
Oh, there's 12/17/2020 on it.
Okay, yeah, that's the date that she wrote that letter.
Yeah.
But what I gave Jason is a comprehensive layout of what phragmites we have and what wild parsnips we have in our township. And we were only one of 3 people that applied for cost sharing last year, and the county has got some money from the state for that. And we have until, now this year, they have a 50% of the total treatment cost, but not more than $1,000. So we can get up to $1,000 next year for treating phragmites and wild parsnips. And so in the back of there, Jason, is an application, but before you fill that out, we need to talk to Sam. Sammy's in charge of this program. And like you say, there's phragmites. I know the phragmites aren't marked on Geyer Road, and you just mentioned there's some, that they have a picture of where all the phragmites are for our township and where the wild parsnips is all done on our township.
Yeah, this is a bit dated, but, because there's still more information that's gotta go in here.
Yeah,
And, this is great, because I want to give her a call and talk to her about.
would you
this.
please?
Yeah, definitely.
And get back to her.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because it's like we started communication, we lost communication, and then we had communication prior to her coming in. We lost communication with that person, then she took over, then we started getting together with this stuff, and then it just kind of like fell to the wayside again. Pretty much when COVID started.
Yeah,
Everybody kind of like we had meetings planned, and then when COVID started, everybody's meetings all canceled, and it just took a while to get back together on this. But yeah, I will give her a call. This would be great, because
give her a call and come back to us at the next meeting, what we can do. We gotta start on it now to line up the sprayer, and I don't know if they have working relationships with Wilkie or not.
that's what we're gonna
Yeah.
discuss, because her and I talked about that prior too, so.
Okay, because he did our work last year and
Yeah.
filled the brush on Mill Road, which is great. But, so that's the book she sent us. I said, oh, this is a nice book for Jason, so I put it in the folder for you, so you can.
Because I have one almost exactly like it, but mine's more marked up than this. 'Cause I'm adding to it,
Okay,
so.
okay. Okay. I've been trying to get into the 17 meetings. And when I go to log in, they want me to pay $95. Did anybody find a way to get,
I got into them, yeah.
what was the secret that you had? Did you?
I didn't have a secret. I logged onto the site with my personal login that I had gotten from the Towns Association.
Okay,
And then I could go down there, and when I went to the convention, it then had the sessions. I clicked on the session and it opens up the video. I had a problem with that once. I called the Towns Association and I talked to them in the office. They had to do something. What? I have no idea. Maybe they didn't have your login registered properly.
okay.
So call them.
Okay, that's a secret to call, okay.
You call, yeah, you call Shano and you tell them who you are, where you're going, what you're doing. They'll ask you, well, what is your login? And then personally, I don't think they have all those folks who's registered for the convention into the access to those videos.
Okay.
That's personal. I'm not sure that that's the case, but that's what it appears like to me.
I tried it and I said, I'm gonna bring this up at the meeting. I would call,
Yeah.
but might have to call, okay?
Just speaking of that type of thing, we had some people who were going to be trying to view this meeting tonight online. And for whatever reason, I do not think they were able to access this meeting. But we're going to continue that probably next month, and I will try to get more of a lead time on the invitation, and I'm going to ask each one of us. My daughter, I forwarded an invitation to my daughter, and then I called Jason to get it to Maddie or Bailey or somebody. And if we've got somebody else who would be willing to try and call in the meantime, I'll try to do some other.
Is there a way we could put that information on our agenda?
Well, first, before we put it on the agenda that gets sent out to everybody, I want to make sure we can make it work.
Okay, okay, very good.
So this was intended to be an experiment tonight with family members if possible. But we do want to open it up to the public, but I don't want to post. One of those sessions I went to, the Towns Association district meeting session. They were real adamant about make sure you know how it works, make sure you've got proper information before you post it. There's nothing worse than going out and having something that does not work or the bad link, and then you'd be inviting a potential meetings law violation.
Yeah. Was Joyce watching it?
I don't see anybody.
Okay, because I had the computer all set up, it was waiting to come on and maybe the computer shut down before.
Well, my daughter was gonna log in, and she works in this world all the time.
Okay,
So if she couldn't get in, I'm gonna get some good information from her when I get home.
Because Madison said she tried to get in, but it still said that you're busy, that the
Correct.
host is busy, so.
So I do not know
Right.
what happened or why, and I just need to spend more time trying to make those setups in place.
okay.
So I'll schedule it. I was tied up the last 4 or 5 days. So tonight, 20 minutes before I came over here, I tried to set this up and it was way too late. I'd rather set it up a couple of days ahead of time and people can see what's going on. And then I get a better idea on how we can actually trigger this off. But I would like to test it with somebody who's going to give me the feedback I need to make sure we can do what's expected from the public. I mean, the meeting is open. We had guests in here tonight, our constituents. The posting will go out on the website. The minutes are posted. The video is posted. So we have November out there, we have December out there, and probably sometime this week we'll get January out there. And when we get to February, we'll make every effort to get some feedback from people who will assist us basically in getting it up. Who we gotta experiment with a little bit. So,
Okay, future meetings, then, for a future meeting, Jason's gonna work on, invasive species, Larry's gonna try and get something finalized for online
for backups,
backup. And
for cloud-based
get
backup.
that on. Our future meeting, we're trying to get a town association meeting, Door County unit, scheduled on February 28th. And that's, at this point in time, we don't know if it's gonna be a Zoom meeting or we'll actually have it at Liberty Grove. We're trying to wait, as of this afternoon, we were trying to get the word back from the town's administrator.
A unit meeting or a district meeting?
This just, Door County unit meeting.
A unit meeting.
Unit meeting, yeah. Yeah, that's at Liberty Grove. And,
And that's gonna be maybe on February 28th?
28th, yeah, that's when it's scheduled. So if it's a Zoom meeting, we'll know that by the 1st of February. It's gonna be a Zoom meeting. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, or next week, I hope.
We should be able to also get some sense of how successful we are on this, on this QuickBooks thing.
Yeah,
Because I would contact Aaron Helgerson tomorrow,
okay.
and then at this point, Ruth, you have all the checks written for the month?
Yes.
And when do you get your receipts? Right away, or you've got?
I got them all there.
Yeah, and I usually do them tomorrow, I do it on there.
Okay, so later this week or early next week, she
Sure.
could have the computer for a couple of days, and we can get going on that. Okay, great.
And the next meeting before the 9th of February will be the first week, no later than the first week in February, will be a closed meeting with the town of Canopy to discuss County Line Road.
What date, you don't know what date?
Don't know what date is on the road, but that's the next meetings.
Okay. And it'll be prior to our February 12th meeting.
Oh, yes, because I'll have to be in condition to be having meetings, because as of the 5th of February, I'll be quarantined. I'll get the COVID test and I'll be quarantined, and then I'll have the surgery on the 9th, yeah.
For your other meeting.
Yep. So we'll have to have that done, make some decisions on that. And that's all I have in my daily week. Motion to adjourn would be in order. There's no other further business to conduct at this time.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion made to second to adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion, we are adjourned at